I jolted awake with a gut-wrenching panic. Something felt off. My driveway, where my truck should have been, was empty. My heart pounded as I rushed outside. My 1985 Chevy Silverado, the one I'd spent years restoring, was gone. Frantic, I called my best friend Mark. "Dude, my truck is gone. Stolen." Mark whistled. "You sure you didn't park it somewhere else?" "I always park in the driveway. Always." I sprinted inside, pulling up my security footage. What I saw made my brain short-circuit. There, in the grainy glow of my driveway light, stood Linda Peterson, the HOA president. She casually unlocked my truck with what looked like my spare keys, slid into the driver's seat, and drove away like she owned it. I grabbed my phone and called her. She picked up, cheerful as ever. "Oh, Ethan. What's up? Where the hell is my truck, Linda?" She laughed. "Oh, that. Don't worry, dear. I just borrowed it for a quick errand. My car was low on gas, and I figured, why not?" I clenched my jaw. "You figured why not? That's stealing." "Oh, don't be so dramatic," she scoffed. "I was going to bring it back." My vision blurred with rage. "How did you even get my keys?" "Oh, I found them in your garage a few weeks ago. You really should keep better track of your things, Ethan." She had my keys for weeks? I barely held back my fury. "Bring my truck back. Now." I will. I'm just busy at the moment. I'll drop it off later this afternoon." I hung up and immediately called 911. 30 minutes later, my phone rang. "Mr. Carter? This is Officer Delgado. We've located your vehicle." Relief flooded me. "Where?" "Parked at a grocery store. The suspect was actively loading groceries into it when we arrived." I blinked. "Wait, she's still using it?" "Oh yeah. When we confronted her, she said, and I quote, 'Oh, come on, officer. I was just running errands.'" I ran a hand down my face. "Is she under arrest?" "Yes. If you want to press charges, you'll need to come down to the station." I grinned for the first time that day. "Oh, don't worry. I'll be there." At the station, Linda was charged with unauthorized use of a vehicle. Not as serious as grand theft auto, but enough to leave a mark on her record. By the time I got home, my phone was blowing up. Some neighbors congratulated me. Others, particularly the HOA board, were furious. Carl, the HOA vice president, sent me a message. "You've made a huge mistake, Ethan. Linda has done so much for this community, and you repay her like this? Expect consequences." I rolled my eyes. An hour later, Carl knocked on my door, arms crossed. "We need to talk." I sighed. "Let me guess. You want me to drop the charges?" "Look, this whole thing has gotten out of hand. Linda didn't mean any harm. She's always been a little overbearing, but she had no ill intentions." I folded my arms. "She stole my truck, Carl, and she had my keys for weeks. How is that borrowing?" Carl hesitated. "She's been under a lot of stress lately. The HOA is dealing with difficult residents. She just made a mistake." I smirked. "So, if I had taken her car without permission, would you be telling her to drop the charges?" Carl's expression faltered. "That's different." "Of course it is," I said dryly. Carl exhaled. "Look, Ethan, the HOA has the power to make your life very difficult. We can fine you, enforce strict property codes, and ensure you follow every rule to the letter. Do you really want that kind of attention?" I stepped closer. "Carl, if you or anyone else from the HOA retaliates against me for holding Linda accountable, I will take this further. I will go public with the footage of her stealing my truck. I will file complaints against the HOA for abuse of power. And I will fight every bogus fine you try to throw at me. Try me." Carl's face turned red with frustration. "This isn't over." I smirked. "For Linda, it definitely is." Linda posted bail and returned home, playing the victim. She went door to door, spinning a story about how I had overreacted. But she hadn't counted on one thing. I had proof. The security footage spread through the neighborhood like wildfire. People who had defended her went silent. Then came the biggest twist. I got a call from Greg, a former resident. "I saw what happened with Linda," he said. "It's about time someone stood up to her." "Thanks," I said. "But who is this? I used to live in your neighborhood. Linda did the same thing to me." I sat up straighter. "She stole your car?" "Not my car, my lawnmower. A nice, expensive riding mower. One day, it disappeared. Weeks later, I saw Linda using it. When I confronted her, She said she found it in my driveway and figured I didn't want it anymore. I had to threaten legal action to get it back. My jaw clenched. So this isn't the first time. No, Greg said. And I'd bet good money it won't be the last. At Linda's trial, the judge wasn't impressed by her excuses. When my lawyer presented the security footage and Greg testified about her past theft, Linda's smug expression vanished. The judge sighed. Miss Peterson, I find you guilty of unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. You will pay a fine of $5,000 and complete 100 hours of community service. Linda gasped. $5,000? But I didn't even damage the truck. This is absurd. The judge's expression didn't waver. Taking a vehicle without permission is a crime. Be grateful you're only facing a fine. Word spread fast. The HOA, once fiercely loyal to Linda, distanced themselves. Her supporters vanished overnight. Then came the final blow. An emergency HOA meeting was called. The main agenda? Removing Linda as president. She was voted out in a landslide. A month later, I saw a moving truck in front of Linda's house. Mark walked up beside me, watching the scene unfold. She's leaving. I grinned. Looks like it. As Linda climbed into her car, she saw me watching. For a moment, our eyes met. There was no anger on my face. No smugness. Just a quiet understanding. She had played her games for too long. And in the end, she had lost. She drove away. For the first time in years, peace had returned to the neighborhood. And I had one.